This is a leg fragment from an Egyptian stool about 1800 BC, and what makes it meaningful to me, the shaping on it is beautiful, but also where the curved rail meets the leg, there's a little joint detail there that keeps the end grain of the rail from splitting. That is a joint detail that is still, I've used many times myself, and to realize that that joint is so ancient is kind of a treat for me. This building was just sitting here empty. I mean, it had lawnmowers in it, and a couple of great old cars that my uncle took away, but it's really very nicely built, and it's just made a wonderful studio space. This is a bandsaw. This is used for cutting pieces of wood that aren't going to be cut in a straight line for any kind of curved work. This one was made in 1907, and I bought it when I was 18 years old, when I first became an apprentice. An old man had a cabinet shop up near Green Airport, was going out of business. And I bought this machine, my joiner, which I'll show you in a minute. This is a joiner. Its purpose is to make rough boards flat. Early 20th century, sometime around 1910. A table saw, it dates from the late 20s or early 30s. And a shaper from him for $1,100, which to me at that time represented my net worth, I think. It was a scary amount of money. Since I had invested so much money into these machines, I was making a commitment to using the machines that was frightening at the time, but here I am all these years later and I'm still using the machines, so I guess as an investment it worked out pretty well. So this is the basic joint used in furniture making. Many years ago, a friend of mine who lived in New York was at a fundraiser at somebody's Fifth Avenue apartment, and there was more people than would fit at the dining table. And he said, why don't you design an upscale version of the old TV dinner table so that people in these apartments can have nice little side tables to move around as needed. And that was probably 10 or 15 years ago that he made that comment to me, and I finally kind of came up with this design. Steinway & Sons every year make about half a dozen Artcase one-of-a-kind pianos. I was lucky enough to make 2 of them. Once they approve a design, I send them my veneers, and they veneer a rim. We make everything that makes it a piece of furniture. We do the top, the legs, the lyre, the key lid, the music desk, the top stick, and the chair. Then we crate that up and send it back to them, and they do everything that makes it a musical instrument. The second one I did for them, they displayed it first at Steinway Hall across the street from Carnegie Hall on 57th Street, and there's that famous curved window in Steinway Hall with the glass curves in like that, so it looks like there's no window there at all. And that was a treat to see my piano sitting in that window. You know. I just made a conference table for the Maddock Alumni Center, and that meant a lot to me because my father was a professor at Brown, my mother went to Brown, my father went to Brown, their parents went to Brown, my daughter just graduated from Brown. One of the Hazards was one of the founders of Brown. I have furniture at the RISD Museum and the Providence Athenaeum, which is something I'm proud of, so it was great for me to have a piece at Brown University, this institution where my family's had so much contact. And also it was nice to get a check from Brown. This wood is Cuban mahogany, and it's been commercially extinct since about 100 years. Well, it still grows as an ornamental in the Caribbean basin. These planks here are Cuban mahogany. They're 12.5 feet long, a couple of feet wide, so this was an enormous tree. The whole studio furniture movement was much more vital and lively in the 80s than it is now. There's the fewer and fewer galleries showing this kind of work. I spent some time last week with Rhode Island School of Design Furniture Department seniors and grad students, and there wasn't one of them who aspired to do what I do. Not one of them who wanted to be a studio furniture maker. I mean, I'm really, in their eyes, a total dinosaur. You know, this is not what they aspired to do at all. They want to be Philip Stark, you know, be famous designers. On the one hand, I've had more success than I ever thought I would. But now it looks like the whole field is kind of slowing down, so it's kind of an arc there, I guess.
Would you say that you're very emotionally attached to the property?
Ask my wife. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I always say I'm going out in a box.